4-week series over Mondays, or?
Yeah, we'll do it for 4 weeks on Monday.
Cool. Hello, welcome everyone. We're going to get started right away. So go ahead and come into your hands and knees. And we'll start with a warm-up. Tuck the toes and push down into your hands and lift the pelvis up and back, coming into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose and a deep breath out through the nose. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale. Exhale 6. Inhale. Exhale 7. Inhale. Exhale 8. Inhale. Exhale 9. Inhale. Exhale 10. Soften the knees and begin to walk the feet towards the hands. And stop about 8 to 10 inches behind the hands. And push down into the floor or blocks at a height that works for you. And relax the back of the head looking at your shins. Modified forward fold. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3, pushing down into both the hands and the feet. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale. Exhale 6. Inhale. Exhale 7. Inhale. Exhale 8. Inhale. Exhale 9. Inhale. Exhale 10. Heel toe the feet, mat width distance apart. Turn the toes out so that your toes are on the wood, your heels are on the mat. And then bend your knees coming into a squat. If you need to, you can sit on a block or two if that feels more comfortable. Bring your hands to heart center and use your elbows to open your knees wider. And then take your gaze forward in front of you toward the horizon. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Open the heart. Inhale. Exhale 2. Good, Bobby. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. You're allowed to relax your face. Inhale. Exhale 6. Inhale. You can even smile. Exhale 7. Inhale. Exhale 8. Inhale. Exhale 9. Inhale. Exhale 10. Go ahead and place your hands down and come to sit down on your mat. And extend your legs in front of you. Look at your knees. Place your feet where your knees were. Keep your ankles and knees together to touch. And wrap the left arm around your shins. And then lengthen the spine. You can place the right hand behind your right hip. And then exhale, twist to the right, TP twist, gazing over your right shoulder behind you. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Just a gentle twist. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale center. Wrap the right arm around the shins. Left hand behind the left hip. And then twist to the left. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale center. And extend your legs in front of you again. This time hug your right knee into your chest. And step your right foot outside of your left knee, maybe closer to the calf. If it's too far up your thigh, you're not going to get that much of a twist. So keep your foot by your calf. Flex the left foot. Inhale the left arm into the air. This time your right hand can go closer to your sacrum. And then exhale, twist to the right again, a deeper twist. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Gaze over the right shoulder. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Pull the toes back towards you. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Inhale, center. Extend the right leg. Other side. Hug the left knee into the chest. Step the left foot outside of the right knee. Inhale the right arm into the air, left hand by your sacrum, and then exhale, twist to the left. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Inhale, come center, and extend both legs in front of you. Bend your knees, place your feet where your knees were once again, and this time separate your feet about 2 fist widths distance apart. This is your inner hip width distance. Then place your hands behind you on the floor or on blocks if your shoulders are tight. If your hands are on blocks, you can let your fingers drape over the edge there. Push down into the floor and lift the chest up, and then keep lifting, coming into a tabletop, trying to bring the belly level to the knees. And if it's comfortable for you, relax the head back. Breathe in. Breathe out, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 6. Inhale. Exhale, 7. Inhale. Exhale, 8. Inhale. Exhale, 9. Inhale. Exhale, 10. Chin to chest, lower down. And then come to a seated position on your mat. You can sit on a blanket or a block if you want, whatever's comfortable. Hi! I haven't been in this space in a very long time. And hello to anyone who happens to be watching. I'm Sam, and I am teaching week 1 of basics for my test, one of my test classes for my apprenticeship. Long time coming. So I just want to get your names just so I can get the feel of the class. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. It's very strange to be in this seat. Now, Basics is a 4-week series, and this is week 1, and we're focusing on standing asanas. So standing asanas reveal our connection to the earth and how we interact with it. And we know through evolution, our ancestors were quadrupeds. We walked on 4 feet. And at some point, we pushed down from the ground to lift up to stand on 2 feet. And a lot of people have different reasons why we do this. Some say to see over taller grass, to climb trees, to get through deep water, or to carry food back with our freed arms and hands. We can carry food back or carry weapons, build things. There are a lot of reasons why people think that we stood up, but it doesn't matter. We're here. We're standing. We have 2 feet that we stand on. So when we look at standing asanas, we're reflecting on that notion of how we as humans thrive by pushing down from the ground to stand up on 2 feet. So that's where we're at. And we're going to look at a lot of different standing asanas today. The most important of which I find is Tadasana. So come stand up. And come to the top of your mat. And for this first round, you can keep your feet apart if you'd like, just a few inches. And I do have my blocks at the top of my mat. You don't have to have them there if you don't want to, but I have them there just in case. And what I want you to do, oh, this is the part where my brain goes blank. Hold the phone. It's coming back. So what I want you to do is to look down at your feet and just notice that you're standing on your 2 feet. And then I want you to feel if your weight is actually centered in the middle of your feet. So to find that, go ahead and rock forward onto the front part of your feet and lift your heels off the floor just a little bit. And then come back. And then rock back into your heels and try to lift the toes, maybe even the balls of the feet. And then rock forward again. Feel that sensation going back and forth. And find that place. Make your rock smaller and smaller and smaller until you find that centered place in the center of your feet. Do you feel that place there? You're there? You're not forward or back? Good. Okay, so look down at your toes. Do you know what your toes were doing when you were rocking forward or back? They were gripping the floor. They were scrunching up. So keep that centered feeling in the middle of your feet and lift your toes and separate your toes as wide as you can. This is difficult for me. I have a broken foot on this side, so this pinky toe doesn't like to go out, but everyone's body is going to be a little different. Just try to spread the toes. Now set down your pinky toes, just your pinky toes, and feel the outer edge of the feet pushing down. And then the fourth toe, the middle toe, the second toe, and the big toe. And feel the entire big toe pushing down, not just under the nail bed. Feel the big toe mounds pushing down into the floor. And notice if already your feet are starting to scrunch up again. Lift your toes one more time. Spread your toes, pinky toe, fourth toe, middle toe, second toe, big toe. You're setting your toes down rather than trying to grip the floor. Okay. So there's that sensation there of pushing down to lift up. Now, notice if your ankle bones are together, or even if they're not, notice if they're moving toward each other, go ahead and try to lift the ankle bones away from each other. They're not going to move much. You're still pushing down into your big toes. Good. Now that lifting sensation, notice if the arches of your feet are lifting up. Good. And we want that lifting sensation because energy in yoga moves up the front of the body. So go ahead and move your awareness away from your feet now and into your thighs. You might start to feel your thighs activating. Feel if they're nice and tense. You can relax your legs for a second. Now feel that looseness in the thighs. Now activate the thighs, push down. Feel the lifting in the ankles. Feel pushing down into the toes still. Pushing down to lift up. And notice automatically I saw it. Your low belly was coming in and up. I didn't even have to teach that. You just did it. Congratulations. Okay. Moving up, your heart is open and forward. I'm not sticking my chest out. I'm not looking for that, but I am looking for a lift in the heart area. And then my hands can come down by my sides. I'm energizing through my fingers. And my gaze is forward so that the top of my head is actually lifting up. Good. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale, so you're pushing down in through your feet to lift up the front of the body. Good. And relax. How did that feel? The pushing down to lift up. Felt good?
That actually made me feel suspended even though I was pressing down.
Suspended even though you were pressing down. Good. So energy moves up the front of the body and it moves down the back. So go ahead, you can leave your mats where they are. Just come to the wall and place your back against the wall. And bring your heels right up against it to touch. If your feet have to be a couple inches in front, everyone's got a different body, that's fine. But notice your whole back body against the wall. Still feeling that pressing down into the floor. Fronts of the thighs are activating to bring the backs of the thighs against the wall. Heart is open. Now move your awareness to your back of your head. Is it touching the wall? Good. And notice if that's telling you if your head is actually upright, if your gaze is forward, and if you're tilting your chin down a little bit, or if you're lifting up too high. Try to feel the back of the head against the wall. And then feel the shoulders broad. And as they broaden, you'll feel them coming against the wall. And if you tend to stick your chest forward, you'll feel that. Try to keep your back connected to the wall while you widen your shoulders. And then everyone's body, once again, is a little different, but you should have a little arch in your lower back. You can place your hand at your low back and just sense that. Even if you're pulling in and up in the front of the body, the low back is still away from the wall. And your sacrum, the lowest part of the spine, is against the wall. And it's moving down as your low belly comes in and up. And then the backs of the legs are trying to connect to the wall, and your heels are rooting down into the floor. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale, grow a little taller. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay, release. Whew. How did that feel coming against the wall to use that support? Good. Yes. Yeah, it's weird to find that placement of like what is front and back and what is up and down. So come back to stand at the top of your mat. Bring your feet together now in Tadasana. And if your feet were apart either because you have an ankle or knee issue, that's fine. You can keep them separated. But try bringing them together this time and feel that same sensation. Go ahead, lift the toes up, separate them, peaky toe, fourth toe, middle toe, second toe, big toe down, separating the inner ankles. The fronts of the thighs are engaging to lift up, low belly coming in and up. I feel like a broken record, but sometimes it's good to just hear it again. Heart is moving up and forward. The fingers are reaching down toward the floor, top of head reaching toward the sky. Shoulders are broadening in the back. The sacrum is moving down toward the heels, and you are rooted into the floor. Welcome to mountain seat, the basis of all other asanas. If at any point you start to feel unstable, you can come back to a sensation of Tadasana. You can find that rooted feeling through the earth, pushing down to lift up. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And relax for just a second. Oh. Who knew? Standing could be so hard. It is a very hard thing. You have a question?
So why do we bring our feet together if we were standing like this before? What's the difference?
So with the feet together, I feel my inner thighs coming toward each other, and I feel my inner thighs activating. And when I do that, I'm able to sense better the lifting of the belly in and up. And I'm also able to sense that little bit of separation of my ankles moving away from each other so that my inner arches aren't falling in toward each other. I have flat feet. If you have flat feet, the arches of your feet like to fall in. So when I lift my arches or my ankles away from each other, I can sense my arches lifting too. And the only way for me to feel that is have my ankles touching. So just a very small cue, but my legs are still moving toward each other at the inner thigh. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So your blocks are at the top of your mat. Go ahead and stand behind your blocks, and you can separate your feet again. So now we're going to move into Uttanasana. Ut is extreme, so it's an extreme stretch, standing forward bend, what we colloquially call it. I'm going to place my blocks at the highest level. Now we already did a version of this in the warm-up. You've already done it, so we're going to expand upon it. So take your hands and place them on the front of your hips, apart for right now. So place your hands on the front of your hips, and then feel that bony structure right in front. And then take the knuckles of your index finger and put them there, and then point straight down. And then your fingertips, that's actually where the level of your hips are. If you were to go in another 2 or 3 inches, that's where the ball and socket joint of the hip actually sits. So when we think of a forward bend like this, a standing forward bend, we want to bend at that point. So go ahead and try that. So standing up nice and tall, push into that joint part right there and just see if you can move forward without rounding the back. And there may come a point where you can't fold any further, and that's fine. You can place your hands on your blocks at the highest level. Now push down into your hands and your feet. When you bent forward, your hips did shift back just a little bit. Try to find that centered feeling in the center of your feet, but also even distribution of your weight in your hands and your feet. And then if it feels comfortable, you can lower your blocks a level. And then relax the back of the head, coming into a forward fold. Now, if you've lowered your blocks, go ahead and walk your blocks back an inch or 2. And again, feel that sensation of pushing down into the floor with both hands and feet. And if that still feels comfortable for you, you can lower your blocks another level. Now, that same sensation of lifting up in the front of the knees, keep that as you push down. And if it feels comfortable for you, you can move the blocks back, fingertips in line with toe tips. If it's not there today, that's fine. There will be more to come. And if that feels comfortable for you, you can place your hands flat on the floor. Good. Take a deep breath in, relax the back of the head, release any tension in the shoulders, but still pushing down into the floor. Kind of a weird thing to figure out if you're lifting your shoulders up towards your ears. Good. Now, catch the waist with your hands And then inhale, look forward, and then come all the way upright. What sensations did you feel in the backs of the legs, if any? Calves stretching? Top of the buttocks? So we're going to feel it in a lot of different places. We can feel it all the way down and deep into the calves, tops of the buttocks, deep in the hamstring. And if you find that you're having any tension there, you can soften your knees. You can use blocks, once again, at a higher height than what you may think you should be doing. There's no should, it's what your body's capable of. But I mentioned that there's that moment as you're forward folding that your hips move back. That's a really important physical thing. So take your blocks, and you can come to the wall. You can bring your mat with you if you'd like. And you're going to place your blocks, again, at the highest height, about 2 feet in front of the wall. When we forward fold at the hip, the bottom of the pelvis, and you can take your hands and you can actually dig under all that meat there. So we all got some meat there. I don't care what you think you have. Everyone has some meat there. And you can feel 2 little pointy structures, just like on the front of the hips. These are your ischial tuberosities, or your sits bones. They really hurt to sit on if you're sitting on them properly. Okay? That's where your hamstrings attach. And you need those little bony structures because your hamstrings and your glutes attach there, and they serve to stand you upright. That's one of the those are the hip extensors. So when we forward fold, we're lifting the bottom of the pelvis. So to feel that, come right up against the wall. And then walk your feet forward about a foot away from the wall, maybe 2. It's going to be a little different for everyone. And lean against the wall. So find that same place in the hip joint, and keeping the spine elongated. Start to hinge forward and notice what happens to the seat. It should be lifting up. So if it's not, then you may need to extend the spine. And then once you've reached a place, go ahead and place your hands on your blocks. And if it feels comfortable, you can lower the blocks once again, or place your hands on the floor, whatever is comfortable for you. And it should feel like a more intense stretch, especially in the belly of the muscle. It might not. If you're feeling any pressure in the low back, you can bend the knees. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. And then place your hands on your waist, look forward, and then come all the way upright. And then you can push away from the wall. That feel more intense? Mm-hmm. So now, that's good. So now come back to the front of your mat. You can bring your blocks with you. So standing in between your blocks, try feeling that sensation one more time and notice how far back your hips actually move as you fold forward. So thank you. So bring your feet together, and if they need to be apart because that bothers your low back, that's fine, but I'm going to bring my feet together. So go ahead and fold forward at the hip, hinging at the hip. Place the hands down at a level that works for you, and notice if your weight has shifted back at all. Lifting the bottom of the pelvis up, pushing down into the floor, into the blocks and the feet. Relax the head. And notice if you can push yourself a little deeper, maybe trying to connect the belly to the thighs. It's okay if it doesn't. And then inhale, look forward, catch the waist with the hands, and then come all the way upright. Good. Uttanasana. So we've stood upright, we've folded forward. Let's return to our ancestors and come onto our hands and knees. And we're going to come onto our hands and knees at the wall. So we've done this in the warm-up as well. It was downward facing dog. I'm going to bring my mat right up against the wall, and I'm going to face the wall. And I'm going to take my hands, and I'm going to turn them out slightly. Thank you, Kate, for demonstrating. And I'm going to place the tips of my fingers and my thumbs right up against the wall. And then I'm going to tuck my toes, and I'm going to push down into my hands and forward into the wall at the same time, shifting my hips back. And then I'm going to lift the pelvis up. My knees might not straighten all the way, and that's fine. We're coming into a down dog variation. We're pushing down into the floor, and we're trying to feel the sensation of pushing down to lift up. So the hips are moving up and back, and the shoulders are opening. The chest is moving towards the thighs, and we're accomplishing that with this outward rotation. Now notice if the elbows are falling in toward each other. Okay, turn your elbows to face out slightly. Good. And then push down into the wall. Good. Relax the head or gaze at the shins or the belly button. And again, if the knees are bent, that's fine. And then come back onto your hands and knees. And this time, turn around and place your feet up against the wall. The balls of your feet will be just an inch in front of the wall, and then your heels will come to settle on the wall. So walk your hands just a little forward of your shoulders. And now push down into your hands and into your feet, and lift the pelvis once again, and push your heels into the wall. And notice the activation in the fronts of the thighs to bring your legs up, to lift the knees up and back. And the hips will move a little higher. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Good. Come down to your hands and knees and sit up for just a second. So what those two exercises did, what we're doing is we're pushing down into the floor in front to lift energy up toward the sits bones. And then when we push our heels into the floor, we're lifting the knees up and back so that the energy moves up the front of the thighs to the hips once again. So we're making energy move up in the same time simultaneously up toward the hips. So now come forward away from the wall. Come back onto your hands and knees. And if your hands are an inch in front of your shoulders, I won't tell anyone. Tuck your toes and then lift your knees up, coming into a downward facing dog. And notice here, if you can find that same sensation of pushing down and forward into the fingers, and then pushing the heels back. There is an idea of putting your heels on the floor. That's not necessary. What we're trying to do is engage the fronts of the legs so that the heels will naturally want to come down, and that pressure into the wall will help reinforce that notion of pushing down and back. Again, make sure your elbows are facing out a little bit. That outward rotation can sometimes help for people who have wrist issues too. I notice in my thumbs, I have a little difficulty with pushing down into the floor when I'm in down dog. So, good. And then come back onto your hands and knees. And again, this asana in and of itself, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Svana actually translates to hound, but we say dog colloquially. And it's again a return to this notion of our ancestors moving on 4 limbs instead of 2. So we put it in the standing asana class because we're standing on 4 limbs instead of 2. Make sense? Are there any questions about that? Did you feel anything? Any pressure in the low back? Any extension in the hips or in the backs of the knees? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I like that. That's something else too. Go ahead, try this. Come onto your hands and knees and feel the low belly just drop toward the floor. And then pull the low belly in and up. We're not trying to round the back, but we're just trying to pull the low belly in and up. And now tuck your toes one more time. And like Kate mentioned, feeling that lifting of the belly, come back into a down dog and try to keep the low belly coming in and up. So the front of the spine is as active as the back of the spine. And your chest is moving towards your thighs. You're gazing at your shins or at your belly button. Good. Come back to your hands and knees. Good. Okay, now come to stand. And we're going to stand in the middle of the mat. And we're going to face this direction toward the door. Now step your feet nice and wide apart. And you're going to turn your right toes to face me and your left toes in just a bit. And then you're going to take your arms to shoulder height. And you're going to reach as far forward as you can. And you're going to place your hand on your shin or your ankle, or if you need to, you can place a block outside of your right shin and place your right hand on top of it. And then reach your left arm up and gaze up toward the thumb. So this is Trikonasana, triangle seat. Now in this place, we're mimicking a two-dimensional shape rather than a being like we did in Adho Mukha Svanasana. So we have a bunch of different triangles that exist here. So we have one that moves from the feet up to the hips. We have one that moves from the right hand to the hip to the armpit. We have another one that moves from the top hand to the shoulder to the top of the head. There are a lot of different triangles in this position, not just the one. And then we have the one whole one from hand to feet. So go ahead and push down, stay in the position for a second. Push down into the foot, into both feet, into the hand on your shin. Reach your right or your left arm away from the body, reach the head away from the tail, and lengthen each line in the triangle. Good. Inhale, come upright. And then switch your feet. Turn your right toes out, your left toes in. If you're close to the wall, you might want to move a few inches away. And then reach forward once again and place the left hand on the left shin and reach the right arm up. And sense all of the different triangles in your body right now. Push down into your feet. Notice your feet up to your hips. Your left hand to your left hip, to your left armpit. Your right hand to your right shoulder, to your top of your head. And then the whole large shape in and of itself. Now push down into the floor, grow a little longer in each line of each triangle. And then inhale, come upright. Good. Now we're going to come back to the wall. We're going to put a backs onto the wall. And if you used a block, you can place it outside of your foot. Step your feet wide apart. Bob, you might want to move on to a bit of a bigger wall. And you're going to turn your right toes out and your left toes in. You want your left heel against the wall. It is pretty difficult to keep the side of your right foot on the wall, so you might want to move your right foot forward of the wall a few inches, and that's fine. Place your hands on your hips and pull your hips and shoulders back onto the wall behind you and ground through the left heel. And then lift your arms to shoulder height and try to keep your back against the wall and move forward. Tilting forward. Right hand on right shin, reach the left arm up, and feel this shape once again, but notice where your shoulder, the right side of your rib cage, the right hip is in relation to the rest of your body. And feel if it's pulling away from the wall. And if it is, bring it back toward the wall. And just like we did in down dog and Tadasana, feel the low belly coming in and up. That'll help facilitate the opening of the side body. And then inhale, come back up, switch your feet, other side. So you're rooting your right heel against the wall. Your left foot can be a few inches in front of the wall or up against it if you have that range of motion. And then shift forward, reaching as far forward as you can, and then tilt, placing the left hand on the left shin, and reach the right arm up. And feel if your right hip is moving away from the wall. Try to pull it back. Feel the right ribs moving toward the wall, the right shoulder. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel the length of each triangle. And then inhale, come back up. And then bring your feet together, come back to your mat. In that position, did you notice anything in the side body or any shifting that you had to do to accommodate pulling back toward the wall?
And whatever that top hip was, I noticed it was really keep that hip back to the wall. And I noticed when I did that, I tended to like
Perfect. Perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to hear. Grab your belt. hmm So one thing that can help with that, I want you to take your belt. I'm going to stand on it and just make sure that it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to stick one end into both metal hooks. And then I'm going to take it back over just one and through the other. And now I have a loop. And you want it about as big as your thigh. So face the side wall again, and take the belt and place it on your right thigh, up as high as you can. And then you're going to take the long part of the loop. It can be a little loose. Take the long part of the loop behind you. And then take your wide stance for Trikonasana once again. And feel the sensation of just holding onto the belt behind you and lifting the right hip up and back. And pretend like the belt is the wall behind you. You can bring your right or your left hip back to touch the belt as well. So you're lifting the right hip up and back. And then reach forward. And then come into Trikonasana and keep pulling back and up on the belt as you come into the position. And then notice the side of your body that is closest to your leg may want to collapse. So pull harder on the belt to lift the hip up and back. Push down into the hand that's connected to your shin and reach the head away from the tail. Once again, lengthening each side of the triangle. Do you feel that crunchiness anymore in the side body? Yes! Okay. Inhale, come upright. Switch legs. Put the belt on the other leg. I don't need to do it. You can do it. And let's all face towards Shiva just so that you are moving away from the wall. So your left toes are turned out, your right toes are turned in. The belt is behind you, and you're pulling up and back. Feel that sensation of just lifting the hip up and back first, bringing the right hip against the belt so that you're square to the side. Even though the pelvis is not a square thing, think about being square to the side. And then reach the left hand forward, and then come down into Trikonasana, raising the right arm overhead, pulling the hip up and back. And again, push down into the hand connected to the shin, reach the head away from the tail, and feel the length along in that particular triangle, feeling the hip lifting. I do not see crunchiness, so you have achieved the desired effect. I love it. Inhale, come upright, and then set the belt aside. So in yoga, we take a lot of different asanas that reflect animals, other beings, even shapes, and we use this as inspiration so that we can connect better to other earthlings, to other beings on this planet, rather than just other humans. We want to connect to other humans too, but we can't neglect everything else as well. Warrior two. So, step your feet wide apart again, just like you had it for Trikonasana. So you have your right foot forward, your toes are turned out. Hold on, it's coming. Virabhadrasana 2 is warrior seat 2. And we move into this one because the hips are already in a similar alignment as Trikonasana. Your hips are square to the side. And you can just keep your hands on your hips for now. And what I want you to do is to bend the right knee and watch it as it bends. And just notice which direction it wants to move, if any at all. And come back upright. Bend once again. Notice if it's falling to the inner arch or if it's falling to the outer arch. Come upright. Bend once again and try to move the knee over the center of the foot, over the second and third toes. Come upright one more time. Here's where it gets fun. Bend the knee and try to bring the knee as far forward as you can. Maybe you need to widen your stance, making a 90-degree angle with the knee. So the thigh comes parallel to the floor. And you might notice a deep stretch in the inner thigh of the left leg behind you. That's normal. Keep that. and then come upright. And then switch your feet. Once again, bend the left knee, and just notice where the left knee wants to go. And extend. Bend the left knee, and extend. Keep the right leg extended, Bobby. Good. Bend the left knee, trying to move it over the center of the foot. Extend. One more time, bend as deeply as you can, trying to go a little further, coming into that 90-degree angle. Lovely, Kate. Now, if you have any pressure in the front of the knee, you can ease up on it if you need to. Bringing the thigh parallel to the floor is a nice, fun feature. It's not a requirement. And then inhale, come upright. Good. Hold on. Come back to the other side. This time, take the hands overhead and interlace your fingers into a fist. And feel the sides of the body growing longer, lifting the hands up toward the ceiling. And if your shoulders move up towards your ears, pull your shoulders back down while still lifting your arms up. And then bend the right knee. Inhale, extend. Bend the right knee. Inhale, extend. Push into the back foot so that the left leg stays straight. Bend the right knee. Good. Inhale, extend. Bend the right knee and stay. So in this position, we're pushing down into the left foot, especially the outside of the left foot, so that we have stability as we lift our upper body away from the floor. The sides of the body are lengthening, and they should be nice and long because we just did Trikonasana. And we're reaching the knuckles up toward the ceiling, shoulders are moving down. We're trying to bend the right knee a little deeper, and then come upright. And then switch your hands so that your knuckles are crossed the other way. And switch your feet. And you want to keep your hips square to the side. So as you do that switch, you shouldn't need to switch your hips around any which way. If you are, might be some tightness in the front of the hips. Now bend the left knee, moving the left knee over the center of the foot as you lift the sides bodies. And extend. Bend the left knee. And extend. Bend and extend. Bobby, move your left knee a little to the left side. Bend. Yes. And extend. One more. Bend and hold, everyone's favorite part. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, extend. Switch your feet one last time. Right foot forward. I sometimes notice in classes the floating, wandering arm. So you have 3 eyes. I want you to imagine that third eye in the middle of your forehead. Take your arms to shoulder height and imagine where your right hand is in space. Do you know where it is? Do you have any clue where it is? Look back and just check. Is it there? Yes, it is. Okay. Here's a magic trick. Your left hand. I'm backwards. So come back to the wall just a bit. Place the outer edge of the left foot against the wall, and then place your right hand on the wall. And push into the wall. And place the hand at shoulder height so that you know where it is. And then take the right arm out in front of you, gaze over the middle fingertip, and then bend the right knee coming into warrior 2. And notice where your hand is in space. There's this tendency I find to just kind of let it wing out there and do whatever. But there's still activity here in all your limbs in warrior 2. You're a warrior. You're fighting right now. You cannot let go of attention of any part of you. You have to be focused in the moment of what you're doing. So if you lose contact with the wall at any point, or you feel your hand is moving around, you're actually not in the pose. And then come upright. And then this time switch your feet, but place the left foot in front so you can bring your left hand against the wall. You can place your right foot against the wall. That's what happens when you mirror class. And push into the wall. Your hand is at shoulder height. And then bend the right knee coming into warrior 2 once again. Your hand may shift down as you bend your knee. That's fine. Push into the outside of the right foot so you lengthen the front of the right leg. And push into the wall behind you so you stay upright. What this also does is it helps keep your torso upright rather than leaning forward like we did in triangle. We want to keep the torso upright here. And then extend the leg. And then come to stand at the top of your mat. Goodness! Wow, okay. We only have a few more that we need to do. I'm so excited. How did that feel? You want to understand how to get the center of your knee down the center of your foot. Mm-hmm. So as I'm doing that, it's from the hip. It's from the back of the hip. So if I'm in, actually, Bobby, you do it. Come into warrior two. You can step your right foot forward or your left foot forward. Doesn't matter. Now, yep, bend the knee. Now, allow the knee to just, yes. So this moment here, notice that your knee is actually over your pinky toe. So now you've engaged the outer hip a lot. So now bring the knee in, yes. So now it's over the foot. So sometimes we have a thing where the knee wants to move to the outer edge of the foot. That's too much work in this hip area. You're working, yeah, you're working too much. And of course the opposite, if the knee is falling in, you're not working enough. And at first, when you're first getting into it, it is a little bit of this maneuvering thing, and the more you do it, which is why I had you bend and stretch so much, so you could feel that sensation of moving in and out of it. So, take that wide stance once again, right foot forward. And this time, bring your hips to face the center of the room. And notice already, this left hip wants to stay behind you. So in order to handle that, take your right hand and place it on the front of your right hip. And then take your left hand and put it on the back of your left hip. And then as you pull back on the right hand, push forward with the left. And try to bring the front of the left hip forward. Now, if you feel a lot of pressure here or in the knee, you can step the feet slightly wider apart so that the heels are in line with each other. And that can help balance out that sensation of spiraling. For some people, you may even need to put a block under your heel to sense that, but try to keep the back heel grounded as you pull the right hip back, left hip forward. And then keep your hands where they are and bend the front knee. And then extend and bend the front knee. Feel the low belly coming in and up as you move deeper into the asana and extend. Bend the front knee and hold. So you're still bringing the left hip forward, the right hip back. Good. Extend and then switch feet. Step the left foot. So open your feet to the side. Let's all face this way. Okay, can you face that way? So you have your left foot in front of you. If you need a slightly wider stance, that's fine. So your left hand is on the front of your left hip, right hand on the back of the right hip. With both legs still straight, pull back on the left hip and push the right hip forward. And notice at that moment when your hips come underneath your shoulders so you're squared forward. And then bend the left knee. And extend. Bend the left knee. And extend. Bend the left knee. Extend. One more. Bend the left knee and hold. Now to help facilitate that twist, push back into the right heel so that you stay grounded and the energy is moving forward. And then extend the left leg. And then come back to the top of your mat. Grab a block. And then step the left foot back. And find that same spiraling sensation, right hip moving back, left hip moving forward. And left heel is down. There it is. And then you're going to take the block out in front of you, holding it at the widest level so that your palms are covering the edges of the block. And then press into the sides of the block as you pull the right hip back. And then bend the right knee, keeping pressure on the block, feeling the arms coming in toward each other. And then extend. Bend. Extend. Bend and hold here. Now notice your arms are coming straight out of your shoulders. They're not lifting above your head. Keep pressing into the block and feel your arms coming forward out of your chest. Now, take your heart and point up to the upper corner of the room and let the block follow so that it's going in the same direction. Now we're in a bit of a back bend here. And there is sometimes a tendency to want to bring the arms up way overhead. We don't need to do that. We can keep the hands coming out of the heart. The chest is lifting so that we're pushing down into the floor and lifting out of our hips with the upper body. And then lower the block, extend the right leg, switch feet. Right foot is back, heel is on the floor. Pull the left hip back, right hip forward. Extend the arms in front of you. Press on the sides of the block. And then bend the left knee. Extend. Bend the left knee. Extend. Bend the left knee and hold. And push stronger into your block. Now, rather than lift your arms, lift your heart toward the upper corner of the room. And let your arms and gaze follow. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then lower the block. Extend the legs. And then come back to the front of your mat. Did you feel that sensation of the hips and shoulders staying square to each other? Did you feel any rotation in there? You felt outward rotation of shoulders in the upper arms. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then was there any sense of crunching in the neck? Did you feel like there was anything happening in the back of the body that felt uncomfortable? Down that part of the back. Some tightness. Okay. Grab your belt. And you're going to take your belt and you're going to place it underneath your arms. And then you're going to arms forward, just like you got like really, really long suspenders. And then step your left foot back like Warrior One, as you do. And that same sensation that we felt in Trikonasana, the lifting of the side body, I want you to push into the belt and lift the chest up. And feel that sensation of lifting out of the lower back so that there is no crunching there. And then bend the front knee coming into Warrior One. Does that feel different? Good. So the idea of lifting the heart as opposed to back bending, there is a back bend in Warrior One. It's slight. But lifting the heart should hopefully pull you out of that. Go ahead and switch your feet. Ooh, I like that word. Switch your feet. Try it on the other side. You got to do one side, you got to do the other. So step the right foot back. Pull up and into the armpits with the belt so that you're lifting out of the low back. And then bend the front knee. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Good. And then release. Does that feel better? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Different.
I felt like a lot had more engagement of like, what are my arms actually doing? What are the energy levels of my arms? Where is the belt actually got me to lean and move the front.
Yeah, it's almost the same as
But
before.
it's
It's not
not
like
like
you're pressing up. It's
it's
all
not like one is better than the other. It's just
no.
different
They're different.
experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that we've learned Trikonasana and Warrior 2 and Warrior 1, let's put them together real quick, if only because it'll serve to show you the differences between them and how they function in a class.
But like, what are my arms and hands doing without a prop? And
Oh,
warrior, like you know, it's like, what are my hands doing? Because everything I've done, I've had a prop.
truth. So, step your left foot back. Austin's such a good teacher. Bring your hands forward just like you had it with the block and press your palms together. And then bend the left knee and then lift the chest coming out of the low back and keep the arms pressing together. The gaze is past the thumbs. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Get a little deeper in your Warrior 1. And then extend the leg. Lower the arms, switch feet.
Yeah, that was the difference for me. It was like the balance and the pushing, but also like felt easier. It wasn't rough. It wasn't, yeah, but now it feels great.
Yay! Other side. Left foot forward, right foot back. Bring the hands to shoulder height. Press the palms together. And then bend the front knee. Lift the chest to the upper corner of the room. See, the arms are activated, but it's the heart that's lifting. So the arms don't have to worry about lifting themselves up. And it doesn't crunch the back of the neck either. And then inhale, come upright. Relax the arms, come back to the top of your mat. So now let's put these three together, just for funsies. So notice as you move from one to the next, the orientation of the hips and where the shoulders are going to be. So focus on this area here because they're going to be different. Okay, so we're going to go through 3 on one side and then 3 on the other. So step the left foot back, coming into your nice wide position. You're square off to the side wall. Reach the arms to shoulder height. Inhale, lengthen and reach forward toward me, toward the wall in front of you as you lift the right hip up and back, and then place the right hand down on the shin and reach the left arm up. Breathe in. Gaze up toward the thumb. Breathe out 1. If that bothers the neck, then go ahead and look forward or down. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale, push strongly into the round, come upright, hands to shoulder height. Now without changing your feet too much, bend the right knee. And notice if the knee is moving too far forward, you might need to move your left heel back. Warrior 2. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. What's your back arm doing? Exhale 2. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale, extend the the right leg. And then bring your hands in front of you and feel the hips shifting to face forward. And then bend the left knee coming into Warrior 1. If you need to step the back foot in a bit because you widen for Warrior 2, that's fine. Exhale 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. And then come upright. Bring the feet together. And keep facing forward. Just step the right foot back. And shift the hips to face Shiva. Opening the hips square to the side, arms to shoulder height. Inhale, reach as far forward as you can, lifting the left hip up and back. Left hand down onto left shin. And reach the right arm up. Gaze up. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Long in both sides of the spine. Exhale 3. Exhale 4. Right shoulder, right rib, right hip moving back. Exhale, 5. Inhale, come upright. Arms to shoulder height. Exhale, bend the left knee. If you need to move the right heel back, that's fine. Gaze over the middle finger. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Good, Bobby. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Inhale, extend the left leg. And then bring the right arm forward. So you square the hips off to the front. Press the palms together. And then bend the front knee as you lift the chest. Gaze up. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Inhale, extend the front leg, and then come to stand at the top of your mat. How did that shift between the asanas feel? What did you notice your hips doing? Or anything else?
Well, I find it interesting that if the shoulder moves forward, the hip has to move. So if you're in warrior two or you're in trikonasana, you say right hip to the left, the right hand toward the left, the right hip's going to move. There's no way for the whole, like, for the hips to stay open unless you're really moving the back foot. But if your back foot's in on that angle, the hip will move.
Yeah, I found that for warrior, I found that I had to move my feet slightly in order to accommodate for the hips. But once the feet were in place, the hips and the shoulders were all in place.
Yeah.
So I kind of found the exact same as you, but from the feet up instead of the shoulders down.
Yeah, and I find that you're like in that what I'm teaching warrior one, it's a huge psoas.
Yes.
Whereas, and that's like something that is actually kind of, you can't really control. So it's going from warrior two into warrior one, it becomes a little more intense because all of a sudden that twist and the back bend that's happening, the psoas and the hip flexors are required to open up. And it's not, it is intense and probably needs to be done because I don't really experience a lot of psoas
I
opens.
felt that it made me stabilize my hips in a different way, like when we were working with Bobby and like moving the hip too far out or too far in. I felt like doing those back to back like that helped me find out, okay, what part of the hip is engaged and what part is hanging on both sides.
Yeah, the shift in the orientation of the hips is it's confusing. It's a very complicated joint because your leg moves in all sorts of different directions, or it should. So if it's not, you have to balance it out with these different places. And I mean, in this case, and you've talked about this, we do Trikonasana first because this is easier to maintain, especially with the legs straight. Warrior 2, it gets a little more complex. Warrior 1 with that opening of the front of the hip, but conversely, the pulling back of the opposite hip. Yes. So, you can stay at the front of your mat, or you can come to the wall for this next one. So, this is where it gets tricky because we're bipedal creatures, and now we're going to stand on one pedal, one foot. So, bring your feet together like in Tadasana. You can take your hands to the wall behind you. You don't have to be right up against the wall if you don't want to. It's just there for balance. Oh wait, actually, yes I do. Never mind. Pull your back right up against the wall. If you don't have a wall, you can still do this though. So shift your weight onto your right foot so that you're standing on your right foot. And then bend the left knee and place the ball of the foot on the floor, the heel above the ankle, and take the knee as far out to the side as you can. And notice the hip moving away from the wall as you do that. So now, pull the right hip back against the wall. And you'll notice your left knee may move in a bit. So there's a limit on how far your left knee can actually move out to the side. And, through time you'll work on it, and maybe one day you can get that perfect outward rotation. Now, you can keep your fingertips on the wall or place your hands on your hips, just trying to feel that sense of rootedness. And trying to maintain that extended right leg, flex your left foot. So now you're actually balancing truly on your right foot. And if this feels okay for you, you can maybe move the sole of the foot to the calf. And again, try to move the knee out to the side without letting the hip move away from the wall. And if that feels okay for you, maybe you bring the foot up to the inner thigh, above the knee. We don't want to put pressure on the knee joint, so if you're struggling to get it above the knee joint, keep it on the calf. That's fine. And then you can keep your hands against the wall or bring your hands to prayer at heart center. Vrikshasana, seat of tree. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale. Now we're pushing down into one foot to grow taller. Good. And then place your hands back on the wall. Slowly lower your left foot into Tadasana. And then switch feet. Move your weight into your left foot. And then place the ball of the right foot on the floor. Right heel above the left ankle. Knee out. Go ahead and take your knee as far out as you can. Feel the disconnect. Feel that moment of, oops, that's too far. Now bring the hip back against the wall. The knee may come in a bit. And then maintaining that sense of pushing down, flex the right foot. And maybe bring the sole of the foot onto the calf. And if it feels okay, maybe bring it above the knee. And notice if you had to do anything funky, once again with your hips, hiking or lifting, try to make sure that your hips are still level. And to figure that out, you can think about what it means to pull the hips up or down, but trying to keep your hips squared forward. And bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Gaze is forward toward the horizon. Inhale. Exhale. And then place your hands back on the wall. Lower the foot and step down into Tadasana. Seat of tree. It's a very strange thing to stand on one foot, since we spend so much of our time on 2 feet or even more nowadays sitting. And especially given the pandemic, probably a lot more sitting than we're used to. So let's complicate the matter a little bit. Grab a block. So come into tree, and you're going to face the side of the room. And I want you to come into tree and place your knee on the wall so that you have contact with the floor and contact with the knee. And then wherever your right foot is, place the block there and step on it. And then bring the knee into the wall. Now, if your knee is on your calf, that's fine. If your knee is on, or if your foot is on your calf or your foot is on your inner thigh, that's fine. And then you can keep one hand on the wall or bring both to heart center. Now, what I want you to sense is pushing down into the block and pushing side into the wall. And this pressure down inside, it creates a two-directional sensation of pressure in the body. So now you're pressing against your inner thigh. So you're strengthening the inner thigh to help you lift up. Now, if you'd like to feel a third direction, you can take the hands overhead and separate the palms just shoulder width. And feel yourself reaching up as if you could push on the ceiling. So now you have 3 directions: down, side, and up. Gaze is forward. If your shoulders creeped up by your ears again, drop your shoulders back down. Good. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, bring the hands to heart center and step down. And then switch sides. Your block should be at the proper side for you to come onto it the other way. Again, bring your knee to the wall, foot to the thigh or the calf, whichever's comfortable for you. And then feel the sensation of pushing down into the block and side into the wall. Now, if you're standing on a block, this sensation of pushing down becomes a lot more specific because you don't have a huge floor on either side of your foot to check you. You really do have to push down and your awareness has become greater. And pushing into the wall, once again, you're activating that inner thigh. You're pushing against your thigh with your foot. It's very active. And then you can add the third direction, once again, taking your arms overhead, separating your palms, if that's easier for your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your hands to heart center. And then step down. Now come to the front of your mat. Here's the real test. We have to do it without props. So bring your feet together in Tadasana. Exhale all the air out. And hug your left knee into your chest as you shift your weight to your right. And then take the knee out to the side, either placing the foot on the calf or the upper thigh, or ball the foot to the floor, your tree, your choice. You can bring your hands to heart center. Gaze toward the horizon, pushing down, pushing side, and if it feels comfortable, reach the hands overhead. You can separate the palms, pushing up. If you fall, you fall. Trees fall all the time, completely natural. Bring the hands together, hands to heart center. Hug the knee into the chest, and then step down Tadasana, other side. Hug the knee into the chest first, and then take the knee out to the side, sole of the foot where it needs to go. Feel the sensation of pushing down, hands to heart center, pushing side, and then if you would like, take the hands overhead. Notice if there's a difference from one side to the other, if you feel more stable on one side or the other. And this may in fact correlate to whether or not you're right-handed or left-handed. It has to do with things happening in your spine, all things that you may or may not be able to control. But in balancing out both sides this way, we hopefully are balancing out the energies in the body as well. And then bring the hands back through heart center. Hug the knees into the chest, and then step down. Did you notice a difference from side to side? Mm-hmm. Right. You know, this that you did, like feeling comfortable here, that's like standing at the bus stop or waiting for an elevator. There's that action of the hip, just like we talked about in like Trikonasana and shifting into Warrior One. What your hips do is very different in this position. And so come back to the wall just for a second. And then it doesn't matter which foot, we'll do both. But bring your feet up against the wall, bring your heels up against the wall. And that same sensation of energy moving down the back body like we did in Tadasana. Now shift your weight onto, say, your left foot and bring your right foot off the floor. And keep that connection of the left body to the wall. Now take the knee out to the side as far as you can. And once again, we're trying to not disconnect, but there is a tension that you're hopefully going to feel deep in your hips. That's your piriformis, that's your obturators, your glutes are activated in this. There's all sorts of little muscles in there that you do not have to memorize that are going to activate that opening sensation. And the deeper in you get, the stronger it's going to be. Because you have all these muscles that are built to stabilize the hips, and we focus so much on working out and making the booty nice and big and thick and juicy that we forget that there are deeper muscles in there. Go ahead and bring the foot back to center and then step down, switch feet. So again, feel the whole back of the right body attached to the wall as you bring the left foot up. And then open the left knee to the side as far as you can. And there's that moment where it wants to disconnect. The right hip wants to disconnect from the wall. Keep it there. And feel the deep rotation, the outward rotation of the hip socket. And this is something interesting as a dancer. I practice this position all the time. Ballet dancers, jazz dancers do it a lot. And the thing that we neglect is the inward rotation. So this is an interesting conversation of both legs. We don't look at the inward rotation hardly at all. But this outward rotation is very difficult. You can relax for people who spend a lot of time sitting or just walking straight forward. We do. Which I find is very interesting, back to that quick discussion of Warrior One. This action right here can be very difficult for dancers because we want to stay open. This is more comfortable for us. But the layperson, feeling this sensation may actually be easier, and then this becomes harder for a different reason. So there's this imbalance that happens. Again, getting hip to the body being different all around. Okay, we only have a few more. We're almost done. So grab your blankets and bring them up against the wall. And you're going to stack them. Now, I have mine in the vegan hamburger or vegan taco formation. And I have the fringe even along one side, the rounded edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on the edge. I'll move this out of my way. I'm going to sit on the edge of my blanket with my shoulder right up against the wall. Now I want to keep this position, but now I'm going to put my seat on the wall and my shoulder to the floor. It's the exact same position. And then, because I'm sitting on the edge, I'm now going to roll on my back and bring the bottoms of my feet on the wall, keeping the knees bent. Now at this point, you can shift your weight around so that you can get the backs of the legs as close to the wall as you can, moving forward or back, whatever you need. And then when you're ready, you can extend the legs straight up and flex the feet. So this is not an asana. This is a mudra. Mudra is an attitude. And this one, Viparita Karani, is literally a reversal of attitude. And it's changing your relationship to gravity. It's a simple inversion, and it's something that can be very relaxing while also active. But what's happening here is we've been standing on our feet, pushing down to lift up the entire class. And we need to balance that out. So now we've gone into a slightly inverted position. It's relaxed. Our feet are above our head. Our hips are slightly above our heart. And the energy has shifted direction. Nice, even breathing. Deep in through the nose and out through the nose. And if it helps, you can take an image in your head of hot liquid in your belly. As you inhale, bring the liquid up to your throat and hold it there and let it cool. And then as you exhale, release the liquid out to the third eye and out the top of the head. Do that again. Hot liquid is in your belly. As you inhale, move the liquid up towards your throat. Hold it there and let it cool. And then as you exhale, allow the liquid to move up to the third eye and out the top of the head. Inhale, hot liquid moves from the belly to the throat. hold and cool, and then exhale the liquid to the third eye and out the top of the head. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Bend the knees. Open the knees to the side, bottoms of the feet together. And then hug the knees into the chest. And then roll to one side, coming off of your blankets. And then with one hand push into the floor and come upright for just a moment. You can move your mats away from the wall. Set your blankets aside. Move anything away from you that might be a distraction. If you would like, you can take a blanket and unroll it to its long, skinny position, and then roll it up into a nice vegan burrito, and place that underneath your knees. And that's going to help release the low back. It's much more fun when someone else does it for you. But what I like to do is put it under the thighs right in front of the knee, and then as I lay back, I'll naturally roll the blanket underneath my knees. My feet are flopping out to the sides. My hands are at hip level, out to the sides, palms up. The back of my head is in contact with the floor. And we're now moving into Shavasana, corpse seat. You're done. Relax. No special breathing. Let the breath breathe the body. And if you're struggling to relax, you can have a silent conversation with yourself. Move your awareness down to your toes and say, toes, relax. Feet, relax. Shins, calves, relax. Thighs, hamstrings, relax. Low belly, low back, relax. Rib cage, mid-spine, relax. Fingers, relax. Hands, relax. Arms, relax. Shoulders, collarbone, sternum, relax. Neck, relax. jaw, cheeks, tongue, lips, relax. Nose, eyes, ears, relax. Eyebrows, forehead, scalp, relax. My whole body is relaxed. Begin to deepen the breathing. Invite small movements into the body, wiggling the fingers, the toes. You can stretch the arms overhead, away from the feet. And when you're ready, hug your knees into your chest. And then roll onto your right side, coming into fetal position. And then with your left hand, push into the floor and come upright to a seated position. Keep your eyes soft or closed and bring your hands to heart center. Bow your head towards your fingertips. Taking a moment to be grateful that we're here, that you're able to do this. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? So are we going to do this regularly on, is this Mondays? I think Mondays would be good. Start out the week. Cool.